All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are ready to get started. First of all, welcome. Derek Lalone here from the Model Schools program to introduce the topic of the top 10 tips for using Google Slides in your classroom. Before we get started, though, just a couple quick announcements. I know Chris already put it out in the chat, but if you haven't done so already, please leave your name in the comment box so we know to get your name for attendance purposes if you want PD credit for today. And very briefly, I just want to go through our offerings for this week. We have brought it down to one offering per day this week, and that may change depending, on how things move forward. But just to kind of give you a brief overview of what's upcoming. Today we have Google Slides, but tomorrow Brittany Gaffney and I will be presenting on flipping a lesson for remote learning. So we're going to be talking about kind of the strategies behind taking your normal lesson plans and kind of converting it over to that remote learning environment. Coming up Wednesday, we have using Google Meet for student check-ins. So this is just a walkthrough of, not only using Google Meet, but how to kind of coordinate it for student check-ins. On Thursday this week, we have Google Calendar time slots for scheduling student meetings. So that's just one of those nice, quick, handy tips to kind of show you how to set up scheduling in that Google Calendar piece so you can easily kind of manage time slots and student signups and things like that. And then finally, we are doing another 10 Google Classroom tips to save your sanity. So this won't be a repeat of last week. This will be another fresh 10 tips. So I just wanted to give everybody a brief overview of what our schedule looks like for this week. And like I said before, say hello in the chat to make sure that you get counted for today. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Brittany Gaffney on the Model Schools team.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to be with you all again. I hope you're able to see my screen okay. So today we are going to be talking about the top 10 tips for creating materials in Google Slides. And really just, tips of how to use Google Slides and different features that it has as well. So let's get started. And actually, before I start, there are 2 links in the description on YouTube of the webinar. One is this presentation that you don't have to be on right now, that you can view later. And the other is actually for a Q&A that we're going to use in this presentation. So I'll kind of prompt you when to head there so we can do some live action. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Google Slides is one of my favorite ways to create materials for students, only because it's very easy to manipulate and work with. So I found it really one of the best features and tools of the Google apps to try and create materials for your students. So the first piece I want to show you in Google Slides is how we can change the page setup. So we actually don't have to stick to that classic landscape look. You can change that. And I really like putting it into the into like portrait mode, so that way there's some extra space on the side, and you'll see why later on. So we can do that by going to File, Page Setup, and creating a custom length and width. So I'll go ahead and show you that. I'm going to create a new Google slide for you from scratch. So from scratch, it looks like this, right? We have our text boxes there, and I always like to start by just deleting these so I have a blank slate. And then I simply go to File, Page Setup, and then I can switch it from widescreen to custom. And I usually start with 8.5 by 11. And then it will turn the whole presentation into portrait mode. Now, little disclaimer, you can't go back and forth and have one slide landscape and one slide portrait, but this is really great because later on I'm going to show you we can use this side space for students to manipulate and work with. So it creates a little bit of extra room, and this side is all viewable for the students. So again, I'll kind of show you how to use that a little later on, but changing the page setup is something I usually do first when I'm creating materials for students, depending on. So just know that that's versatile. Okay, we're gonna head to our next step, or tip, I should say. Setting images as the background. So setting images as the background will kind of lock certain things in place in a slide. So that way it doesn't allow students to move around certain parts of the slide, which is really helpful when we're trying to make, manipulatives for students. We don't want them to be able to move our directions out of the way and throw everything out of whack. We just want them maybe to move certain things around the slide. So I'm going to show you kind of a big picture example, and then I'll walk you through how I built it. So also in this presentation, the links are clickable to what I'm showing right now. So if I click here, it'll take me where I want to go next. And it'll do the same for you at home. All right. So remember when I said this side space is super helpful? I'm going to actually want the students eventually to do something with this piece on the side. But I'm going to start here on the fraction drag and drop to show you about the background. So right now I have these movable pieces, but I don't want the students to be able to move what's on my slide right now. I only want them to be able to actually drag and drop these numbers as a matching activity, right? So I only want these to be movable on the side. I don't want what I just created over here using images and text boxes to be movable. So my first step, one way you could do this is creating your image in slides and going to File, Download as a JPEG. So that's going to make a picture. And for me, it downloads right at the bottom of my screen. And I'm just going to do a file quick save as to my desktop. Okay, so look, this just captured what was on the slide and now it's an image. So now I need to get it on my slide, right? So I'm gonna insert a new slide. And I'm going to go up here to background, or you can right click and change the background. And I'm going to choose image. And right here, I can browse through my computer files, or I can just drag and drop that image that I have here. And click done. So now everything that was once in the background is not movable, which is great. But now I want, these fractions that I've been working hard on. So I'm going to just highlight all of them by clicking and dragging, doing a quick copy and paste, Control C, Control V. And they show up there. So now I can assign this kind of manipulative slide to students. So they won't be able to move any of this, but they will be able to move these back and forth as needed, and then be able to turn that back in. So the key here is taking any image of something, right? So what if I had a PDF? I'm gonna move this down for a second. So if I had a PDF image, let me find, there's one, okay. And I wanted this to be the background, I can also take a screenshot. And later on, I'll share with you some different ways that you can take a screenshot for usually using the snipping tool or the snip and sketch on a Windows computer. Or if you're on a Mac, a Shift Command 4 will allow me to take a screenshot. So of course, notice your copyrights, right, as you're downloading things. But if you have permission to share, you're able to, take that screenshot and save it directly to your desktop, and then make that as an image right on your Google Slides. So that is one way that you can actually make your slides a background. There is another way too. There are a multitude of ways, so we kind of have to find what works for you. The second way to get those pictures as a background and not touchable is to create a master slide. Okay, so it's similar to setting the images as a background so they become uneditable and movable for students. So I'm going to walk you through that. Okay. So you'll notice I have this made, it's kind of the same activity, right? I don't want students to be able to move this part around. So I'm going to show you how making a master slide may work for you as well. So first you're going to go to View. Actually, I'm sorry. You're going to create a new just blank slide. Okay. Just to use. And you're going to go to View, Master. And it'll give you all of these master options. But we want to create a blank slide. So once you start with a blank slide, you can then copy and paste. So I'm just highlighting everything over my screen, copying it. And I'm going to go back to my master slides. And I'm going to paste it right there. So now when I go to rename it, I can call it, fractions. That is there for me. So I'm able to now choose that when I click into making a new slide. I'm able to pick that option as a background. So now those are not editable either. So it's really just first finding your master slide. And you can use these templates and just delete, and copying everything from this slide and pasting it here. And then it will show up as an option to add a slide here. And you'll notice I had done this before as well as like a test run. So my other one that I had made is here too. So that master slide option might work for you as well. It really depends on, what makes the most sense for you and what you're most comfortable with. But again, making this not editable, that background tool is really key, or you can use the master slide option. Okay. Now, the fourth really awesome tool or tip that you can do in a Google slide is embed videos and link images. So you'll see right here, my slide that I'm presenting to you has a video right within it. So by clicking play, it will actually start to play the video right on my slide, which is really awesome. And sometimes that helps create really organized materials for students when we embed what we want them to see right within a slide. Now you can also link a picture. So this is a photo that I took, and when I go ahead and click on it, it will take me to a website that I've linked to it by inserting a link. And I'll show you how to do all of this. I just want you to see kind of the final piece. So if I click that, it will take me to an article that I linked about climate change. And I'll show you how this looks out of present mode for a moment. So see when I hover over this image, it shows that I've linked something here. So if the students are out of present mode, this is how it will look, and the students can just click this link here too. So I did that by clicking on the image, and you can do it, there's like 3 different ways. The little insert link option is up at the top of the screen, which will create a bar where I can copy and paste any link that I'd like it to take them to and hit apply. You can also usually right-click on the photo and link will be an option. It's not showing up now because I did already set a link to it. So that can be really awesome. Then to embed a video, you go up to the top and click Insert, Video. And what's nice is you can search YouTube right here on the screen for a video that you might want to embed. You can copy and paste a YouTube URL if you've already found one and you want to just copy and paste the link right in there. It'll find it for you. See if I go to moric.org/videos. Usually it will take me to it if I search for it. It depends on the link. But it'll search there and you're able to pull in videos right there. Then you can also pull in videos from your drive. So if you have videos that you've already made that you want your students to see, you can go ahead and do that there. And they will show up kind of mini. And then you can, when you hit play, the students can choose to enlarge it here, or it can just play as large as you have it on the screen. And the really nice thing about images is you can obviously, take a screenshot and import them, but to insert an image, you can also search the web right along the side. And these are already filtered for copyright, which is really awesome. So if I were to search polar bears, I could just click and drag it right onto my slide. Make it small for the kids. And then I can link, again, that object. So just make sure the object that you want to send to a link is highlighted, and you can link it, and the students will get sent right to it when they click it. So I really like this option when, for creating kind of those quick little activities for students that keeps it all in one place. So they have the video that you want them to see. They have the link right then and there, and you can embed all of that by following these steps right on the screen here.
Creating audio clips and inserting them into Google Slides is a great tool, especially for students who need directions read aloud to them. It is also just a great way for students to hear your voice.
Okay. So hopefully you were able to hear that. That was me inserting an audio piece into a Google slide. And I read what was right on this slide to you. But in this case, you could add a piece of audio in to have it read to your students. Now, this is something that you may be able to this is why I gave you the slide presentation, because I gave some really good and different instructions on how to insert audio and how to actually record yourself. So if I click this option, and you can click that too, it gives you some instructions here of a good web-based video recorder and how to do that. Vocaroo is really awesome. If you have an iPhone, I included some suggestions and directions, as well as a how-to video. Android users, I just gave some directions, as I do not have an Android phone myself, so I wasn't able to create a nice little video for you, but I gave you some directions and app suggestions. And then just a quick note on share settings. So once you've recorded your audio clip and got it into your Google Drive, you do have to make sure that your share settings are set so your students are able to listen to it. So usually, anyone with the blank district can view will work for those audio clips. So just keep that in mind. So again, these are instructions on how to record audio, different ways, and how to get it into your Google Drive so you can put it into a slide. So I've attached those for you. And I'm going to escape for just a second. When you go to, so once the audio is in your drive, you can go to Insert, Audio, and all of your audio clips that you have will show up here. So once they're in your drive, and again, those instructions are linked for you because there are a bunch of different ways you can do it. And we don't have time to go over all of that today. So I gave you those resources, but you can insert audio into a slide by inserting audio right from your drive. And the instructions listed here will walk you through various ways you can record and get that into your drive. So I hope you found those helpful once you get a chance to try them. And you can see my little speaker shows up here. So when I click on that, it will start to play. But if you go up to format options, once this is highlighted, you can kind of decide if you want the clip to play on a loop, if you want it to play automatically. That's what I had it set to. So that's why when I clicked to that slide, it started playing. So you have some settings here too for that audio clip. Okay. Now this is another way that you can kind of make your slides interactive for students, and some things that you can do. Remember when we were talking about linking pictures and websites? You can also link slides together. So watch this big picture. I gave the students a question. What is the area of the object below? So, and here are the two choices. Watch, when I click 9 square units, it takes me to a slide that says correct, you know, and it explains and it walks through. Then I also put a text box here that links me back to the original question. And then if I picked the wrong answer, which is 12 square units, it takes me to a different slide that also will give an explanation. And obviously you can type whatever you'd like here, but I love if students are picking, you know, the wrong answer, this is a really great way to differentiate your learning. And then back to question. So I did all of this by just linking to slides within the presentation. So let me show you. When I hover over this text box, see how it says it's linked to slide 13? So it's not linked to a website or anything like that. It's linked to a slide within this presentation. So when it is clicked in present mode, it'll take you right to it. So if you notice in my presentation, slide 13 is the correct answer. And then if I go back up, my 12 text box is linked to slide 14. So I do that by just clicking whatever I want to be linked, clicking that link option again, so just like you would link out to a website. And see, instead of copying, pasting a URL, you're going to pick slides within the presentation. So you can decide when the student clicks this, I want it to go to blank slide. This is also called, you know, choose your own adventure. That's kind of what it was kind of named as, but it's kind of, you can use that in many different ways just by linking slides and create these really awesome interactive activities. So math is really awesome. I've seen it done with story choices. And I actually have, there's a video in our MOREC library that talks just about these choose your own adventures and linking slides. So just know that you can obviously link URLs, but you can also link text boxes or pictures to slides in your presentation and organize it that way. All right, this is the live Q&A. So I'll explain this after, but if you could use the link that is in the description that has the Q&A to it, that would be awesome. And you can go ahead and type in, maybe not necessarily a question just yet, but type in something to try it out. When slides are put into present mode, you can choose to put your screen into a live Q&A. So you'll notice on my screen, I have this presenter view here. And I'm able to see questions that you are asking. So, and the link should be up at the top of my screen now as well, but hopefully you're able to access that in the YouTube piece as well. And you can go ahead and type something here, and it will actually pop up right on my screen if you would like to try that out. So this live Q&A feature is kind of awesome if you maybe are presenting a live Google Meet with kids and you want them to ask you questions. So you could share your screen, put your slides in present mode, and they could ask you questions right here. Also in present mode, down at the bottom, you can see this little pointer here. And it becomes this almost like a laser pointer right on your screen. So this is another cool feature of putting your slides in present mode. Yes, Emma, that is the correct link. And I, as the presenter, can like comments as well. You can too. And it will show up in a live stream for you as well. So you're able to see others. And you as the presenter can type back. And again, it shows right up on your screen. So just kind of some neat features with putting it in present mode. And you do that, I gave you a little screenshot by going up to the top where it's next to share, present, and hitting the arrow instead of the big word present itself. And you can pick presenter view, and the Q&A option will be there. And notice it's at the bottom of my screen too, along with the pointer, captions, things like that. All right. So know that the Q&A feature is there. Maybe it's not something you're ready to dive in right away, and that's totally fine, but just know that it is an option. All right, we're moving on to number 8, the Explore feature. The Explore feature in Google Slides is kind of nice. It will actually format things for you. And you've probably seen these little images here somewhere in the Google Suite. Explore shows up on Google Docs too, and it does various things. But let me show you what it looks like in a Google slide. So you'll find the Explore feature right at the bottom of your screen. It's kind of a little bubble with a star, and it says Explore. You can also go up to Tools and find Explore there. It'll all take you to the same place. So if I open that, in Slides, the Explore feature gives you different layout options for each slide. So it takes words that you already have and images and gives you different ways that you could lay out the slides, which is kind of nice, right? You could create a completely blank PowerPoint with just plain old words, and it'll spice it up for you. This might be something really cool to share with students too. If they're making their own Google Slides, maybe you can jazz it up personally yourself as the teacher, but the students might need a little help. So this Explore feature is really kind of cool. So again, in Google Slides, it does the formatting piece. In Google Docs, it does some different features. Now, while you're in Explore, you can also search the web. So since I am searching weather, I can search the web right along the side for pieces of my presentation, and it will come up with some suggestions and websites. You can also search for images right here in the Explore feature, and you can even search your drive for anything that contains the word weather. So again, the Explore feature, I think in Slides, is really mainly great for the pre-formatting piece, if that's something that you're looking for. So just know that that Explore feature is there. Okay, number 9, the infinite cloner trick. This is one of my favorite pieces of Google Slides when creating something interactive. So remember that beloved smartboard tool of infinite cloner? We can kind of recreate that, and I gave you the keyboard shortcuts here. And this is kind of a really awesome kind of piece to use. So let's try it out. So I've created a drag and drop activity to make the number sentence true. So I'm going to take these stars and drag them. Notice how I have that image kind of infinitely cloned from that pile there. I'll show you how to do it. So once you have an image or even just a shape, if you wanted to make little circles for the kids, okay, you can format it the way you want to fill, to make it transparent, whatever you'd like. Now to get it to infinitely clone, you're going to do a Control or Command D first. And I'm actually going to just delete these really quick so they don't get in the way. You'll see what I mean. You're going to highlight the image and do a Command or Control D as many times as you see fit. You're going to then highlight over those images. Now see how it also grabbed some extras in the background? I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to move those out of the way for a second, just so we don't get it too messy. Okay. So I'm going to highlight over those objects, right click, align horizontally left, align vertically top. And again, those instructions are in that Google slide, as I know, this is going, at a steady pace. Now, once I click off of those images, I can drag as many as I'd like. And let's say you didn't make enough, you can repeat those steps as many times as you need. So just know that that feature is there and is really fun with those interactive slides that you're asking students to do. And also just that Control or Command D feature is great for making copies of lots of things that you want to save the formatting to. And I know it is 1:31. I want to just show you the last trick, and it's a quick one. Just know that keyboard shortcuts, so like the duplicate option and copy and pasting and all of those little tricks, some of them are listed under keyboard shortcuts in Google Slides. So if you're looking to really boost your productivity, you can do that. So, and look up those keyboard shortcuts. Anywhere in Google Slides, if you go to Help, and then keyboard shortcuts, they'll all be listed here of different ways that you can see. There's that duplicate feature, how to group things. So instead of right clicking or trying to find it, to really increase your productivity, all of those keyboard shortcuts for slides are listed under the Help feature. So just kind of a little FYI as we get working. So I know that some of those tips went a little bit fast, but that's why I wanted to provide you with the slides and some examples, and of course, rewatch as you need to. But thank you for tuning in live with me. Again, my name is Brittany Gaffney. I'm part of the Model Schools team at the RIC, and my job is tech integration. So today I present to you how to integrate slides into your kind of virtual learning experience with your kiddos. So I hope you enjoyed. We'll take a look at the chat. I can see that it was busy, so let me just take a peek. Just kind of peeking at the chat. Let's see. Just to answer your question, yep. Yes, that's a good question. So slides and view only, yep. Then the students will kind of only have that option to put it in present mode. But for you, it'll work that way. I'm trying to go back to the chat. Let's see. Thank you all for joining. I hope this was helpful. And of course, yeah, rewatch as needed. And also email me if you have any questions about any of the tips and tricks. Thank you all for joining. Yes, thank you, thank you. Yes, and of course, try it out. It is a lot of info, only 30 minutes, 10 tips. But yeah, try it and let me know how it goes. All of those tips are really helpful, especially as you get started. Oops. I meant to keep the thank you slide up. There we go. Yeah. And again, the slides that I shared with you, everything is just a view only for right now, just so you can kind of see what I did and refresh your memory. And then I tried my best to kind of write out any tips that are needed. And and screenshots of where you can find them. So hopefully you find all of those helpful. Okay, I'm going to stay on just for one more minute if we have any other questions, and then I'll go ahead and end the stream. All right, well, I think if that's all, we'll go ahead and end the stream. Like I said, reach out if you have any other questions, and thank you again for joining us.